This is Democracy in Action, and we are at Third Eye Africa TV. We want to look at, as the name implies, democracy, the roadmap to 2027. Again, are they bumpy? Are there checkpoints? Or the road is so smooth? We want to look at many of those things and even more. I have a guest who all the while politics. He's been a spokesman for a former governor of Kaduna State. I'm talking of His Excellency Namadi Sambo, a spokesman for that same officer as Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He remains a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party. I'm talking of Alhaji, Umar, Sani. I want to welcome you to Third Eye Africa TV.
Thank you, Ben. How are you?
I'm great, any day. And you? It's been a long time.
Yes, and how is the third eye?
Well, we have, every other person has 2 eyes, but they have 3.
Yes, it is good.
So we use the third eye to see you and fetch you here.
Yeah.
Yes, so I ask you this. Yes. Where is your principal, your former principal, Namadi Sambo?
He is very much alive.
Okay.
And he is very much in the People's Democratic Party. Okay. Yes. As a statesman, he has decided to lie low, not to be seen in every facet, but anything PDP, he appears. If there is a NEC meeting, he is invited, he will appear. Even at the convention, if he is invited, he will be at the convention. You can see that in the convention planning committee, his name appeared conspicuously, as part of the planning committee for the national convention. So, having said that, I will say that Namadi Sambo is alive, is kicking, and is well, and is within the precincts of the PDP.
So, when rumors were arrived at the point that, look, he has gone and aligned with APC, the El-Rufai win has moved to ADC and all that stuff. People were wondering whether Namadi was there. At the point, they said, yeah, we saw him. But he said it's as constant as the Northern Star.
Yeah, well, when that rumor came up, I had to debunk it. I issued a statement on his behalf, and I told everybody who cared to listen that Namadi Sambo has not defected. The confusion, came about because one of ours, Alhaji Sani CD, had already moved to the APC. And if people like us, who are very close to him, move to anywhere, it will be assumed that he is moving to that place. But that was just a mere assumption. Namadi Sambo remains as constant as the Northern Star, and he is very much in the PDP, and we have already debunked that, and that matter is dead.
Dead, buried and gone.
And gone.
Never to resurrect.
No.
Okay. Now, let's still know this thing you call godfatherism when it comes to Nigerian politics. At the point you see godfathers, godson politically, they so move together, but on getting to a state, they begin to fight. Look at the state governor in our state with El-Rufai, the former governor, who at the point said he had retired all political godfathers in Nigeria. How do you see godfatherism in Nigerian politics, especially Kaduna State?
Well, godfatherism is not something that can go away just very soon. There are exceptions to the rule. There are so many people who were governors and they did not load it over their successors. The former governor of Ebonyi State, an elder, didn't load it over his own successor. He went into the Senate, he was quiet, and things went well. Now, but when you want to load it over your successor, you don't want to allow the successor to do what he was elected to do. Most times, these are the causes of these issues. But the issue of Kaduna State is completely a different matter. Perhaps they started well, and most people were seeing them very close, and all of a sudden they fell apart. Now, information coming from the grapevine has it that the governor decided to team up with the federal government, since the federal government was against El-Rufai. It was a deliberate move that was made by the federal government to disgrace him, knowing fully well that they were not going to give him a minister. Tinubu went to Kaduna during an event, which Card Invest, Kaduna State Investment Forum, and he said he was not going to step down from the podium until El-Rufai agrees to work with him. El-Rufai said he refused to answer, but after much pressure, he said yes. Then he brought him back again, and he said, even if it is on a temporary basis, he was going to do it. Now, he was assured he was going to be made Minister of Power. He was asked to go and do some research into how to build a very strong ministry that will tackle the perennial issue of power outages in Nigeria. Having done that, he came to the villa, was able to give a PowerPoint presentation, which was very impressive as to how he intends to tackle. All of a sudden, when he went to the National Assembly, some shenanigans started coming up. So which means his earlier sins were not forgiven. He had, I think he committed about 3 sins, to the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The first sin he committed was when he was governor and Ambode was in trouble. And he told Ambode that, look, I have retired all godfathers. Let me teach you how to retire a godfather. That was considered to be a sin. Secondly, there was the issue of him being the running mate to Tinubu. And he said that he cannot be a running mate to a drug pusher, which was considered to be very offensive. And the third one was that during the course of the electioneering, he was initially not with Tinubu. He was with Rotimi Amechi, but all of a sudden, maybe perhaps because there was intervention from Buhari, he decided to join the Tinubu camp, and he did his best to ensure that Tinubu wins. So these 3 areas, thematic areas, were considered to be offensive, and I think the consideration was, there must be a retaliation and one humiliation that should cover for all this. And so this is what, to my mind, was responsible for why he was jettisoned.
And you think it's nice politics for Nigeria, this kind of a game?
No, it is not. It is when people say El-Rufai is angry, I'm not standing in for him. But when people say, El-Rufai is angry because he was not made a minister, you have to try to put yourself in his own position and understand why he has to act the way he has to act. Now, nobody wants to be disgraced. Nobody wants to be treated like this. When you are treated that way, people look at that he was not made a minister is the issue. No, it is the deceit in trying to lower him to come into the assembly to be disgraced that was more damaging than not him being given minister. If, for instance, Tinubu had called him to say, El-Rufai, I have changed my mind, I will not give you minister again, that it would not have caused any uproar or any, because El-Rufai said, allow me to go and rest. I have finished governor. I want to go and continue my schooling and do the necessary things. Now, all of a sudden, you are coming up with another plan to deal with him. And then, it was to make matters worse. Since he was not given, he was invited to say, okay, bring somebody who will take over since you didn't get. he brought in the name of Sani. And what we heard is that the governor who was outside the country called and said, no, he doesn't want Sani. Since El-Rufai is not the one getting it, he is the one to provide the name. And so he decided against Sani. And I think they had to sit down together with El-Rufai to come up with the current Minister of Environment, who was given that.
That's
Balarabi. Abbas was given that position. Now, I think this was the beginning of their face-off. But the major, the last straw that broke the camel's back was that what we had is that while in Saudi Arabia, they went to Saudi Arabia, while making the list of commissioners, El-Rufai insisted that they should not drop from the bar. They had already set a bar. You must be a graduate, you must be this, you must be that. And the governor insisted he want to appoint somebody who is not a graduate. And El-Rufai was kicked against it, but the governor still went ahead. I don't think that annoyed El-Rufai because he didn't want to be too interfering. And so at the tail end, the governor maybe as a result of maybe a buy-in with the federal government, decided to call a town hall meeting. And in that town hall meeting, he decided to make some comments which to El-Rufai were ancillary.
Maybe the governor was trying to announce his independence.
Yes. He said he was announcing that they had no money, all those things, which were things that were discussed at the handing over ceremony. And he brought it to a town hall meeting, trying to showcase that El-Rufai left him with so many problems behind. And these were things that naturally could create a crisis. Nevertheless, there was no response, critical response from El-Rufai for us to know that whether he was angry or whether he is averse to what was said, or there was no response. Another thing that caught our third eye.
Yes. Very vital.
Yes, is that there was a turban. There was a chieftaincy title that was given to El-Rufai in Ogun State, along with Jimmy Lawa. The governor did not. There was no any advert congratulating El-Rufai for that award. There was nobody from the state that was there to be part of the ceremony, and the governor was not there to participate in the ceremony. That also was a pointer that things were not going well. Even at that, we still decided to say, okay, let us give this thing the benefit of the doubt.
Okay. Now, in spite of all of this, going back to the issue of the president now, Tinubu and El-Rufai, at a point when there was this currency swap, designation of the currency, redesign, at the point some people said, look, this thing is tailored towards or skewed to block Asiwaju from becoming president. Then El-Rufai threw his neck, threw his hat in the ring, and said he was going to defend all of that so that Tinubu contest, and that everyone should continue using that money, whether they are new or old. And today we are still seeing this. But one is taken aback. Is it that with all of this, Tinubu has deliberately matched the tail of the tiger? Maybe the tiger being El-Rufai, the way it came with venom.
Yes. Everybody is, a human being is like, a true human being, let me say this, is entitled to show his anger. And to do this is politics, and to do whatever he can to also frustrate Tinubu's emergence or Tinubu's 2027 aspiration. And I think so far, El-Rufai has been a one-man opposition. He has been the one that has been creating the scenarios, creating the problems, creating, some of those things that, unsettling the presidency and the APC. And so, perhaps people have called him bitter. People have called him because he didn't win. He didn't get minister. If he had gotten minister, he would have kept quiet. It is not about getting the minister, like I earlier said. It is that the process that he was used and dumped and removed is very annoying. If there was a clear-cut decision, I say, okay, everybody would have taken decision, can you please proceed on your study leave and go and do your study leave and give us another name, or go and put your heads together with the governor and give us another name. There wouldn't have been all this problem.
Now, sorry to cut you short, but when you're talking about, making it work within governance, for example, we've also seen a supporter of the president, Hakim Baba Ahmed. He has pulled out. Now El-Rufai is out. Now, one would have thought that some people should stay in and fight inside than abandoning to go fight from outside. Politically, which is better?
Well, you see, politics is about alignments and realignments. People who don't agree with certain things do not believe they should continue to stay in that scenario, because it will be hurting their ideology and their feelings. So it is better for them to go find alternative areas where they can fully matched and be appreciated. And so staying in and fighting within will not work, because you have already been humiliated, you have been reduced to nothing, and then within the same system, how do you now come up to make yourself very relevant? So you cannot be relevant unless you are from the outside. And this is what El-Rufai and Baba Ahmed are doing. They are from the outside, and they can now speak. Because if you are from the inside, you are bound by so many things. You are bound by the constitution of the party. You are bound by so many laws within the party. The party will issue circulars, guidelines on so many things, and bar you from talking. And if you talk, they say you have committed anti-party. And then the party will now sit down and display you, either by suspension, by expulsion. That's another further disgrace. So it is better for you to find another alternative platform where you can speak your mind and say whatever you want to say.
So today, they might be seen as moles within the system. They were fighting the system, or they were there without being trusted or something?
No. It is not about they were there without being trusted. The thing came up with also a transition. It was during a transition from an APC president to another APC president. Now, if the first APC president was entirely with El-Rufai, the second APC president might not be entirely with El-Rufai. So, El-Rufai is merely trying to find his level. He's trying to protect his integrity. He's trying to protect his name, in whatever way he can, And when this fight he's putting up a fight for him to be able to, to redeem his image, because it was a battered image and a bruised ego.
Now, in the midst of this scenario you've painted, where stand PDP? Now, is El-Rufai and his team a stumbling block to PDP?
Well, I won't say they are a stumbling block, because ADC, to which El-Rufai belongs to, is an existing party, but there is no party that has the structure, the reach, and acceptability of Nigerians like the PDP.
Explain.
The PDP is well known. They have ruled Nigeria for 16 years. They have demonstrated their capacity. They have, from Obasanjo, we have had debt relief. We have had telecommunications were, the market was open. There was a lot of progress in the polity, and when Eradua took over, he also, continued where Obasanjo stopped and, liberalized the economy, made everything was working, again, and corruption was being tackled. Only insecurity, which was new, that surfaced, which was the Boko Haram insurgency. However, Eradua was able to address the insecurity in the Niger Delta, without firing a single shot. It created amnesty and so forth and so on. And the PDP were making concerted efforts to end insurgency. Jonathan came, he continued along the line, but because the Nigerian military were not trained as at then in counterinsurgency, we had to bring in mercenaries from outside. And those mercenaries, they tried their best. They were able to subdue them, which would lead to an election, an election where even the president himself lost, and he agreed, and that he has lost and conceded defeat. So the point I'm trying to make is that the PDP is already established in the minds of Nigerians. And during the period of the PDP, the economy was okay. It was booming. Cost of living was very low. You could buy a bag of rice at 7,500 and so forth and so on. The exchange rate to the naira was about when Jonathan left, was about 198 to the dollar. So the PDP, kept the economy growing, and things were moving well. But we have, as it is now, what Jonathan was trying to gain for Nigeria is what the APC has lost for Nigeria.
Okay, now, roadmap to 2027, Nigerian elections. Now, in terms of, do you see any obstacles if you cast your vision from now to 2027 in terms of this election? What are you seeing in your crystal ball?
Well, what I'm seeing in my crystal ball is that I'm seeing the PDP being the president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in 2027. The PDP candidate will be sworn in, and he will occupy that seat for a period of 4 years. And after 4 years, the mantle will move to the north.
So one is wondering, when you're talking about there's not yet a presidential candidate.
Yes.
There are aspirants.
Yes.
No primaries.
Yes.
No convention.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Nevertheless, the PDP is a well-structured political party, which is well-known and well-accepted by Nigerians. So anybody who emerges in the PDP stands a chance of occupying that position, because the PDP undergoes a rigorous selection process that will put in the best for Nigerians to elect.
The same PDP that lost people like El-Rufai, lost people like Rotimi Amechi, lost people like David Mark and all that stuff. Yeah, it's still okay.
Yeah, in politics, it is not about what you lose, but about what you gain. We've lost Atiku, we've lost El-Rufai, we have lost Rotimi Amechi, we've lost, but the PDP still remains as an institution. Up to now, it has not collapsed. There is no any recorded place where you would say the PDP is no longer viable. They were not there when PDP were winning states, and even in the 2023 election and the 2019 election, we believe we won the election. In 2019, we believe Atiku won the election, and in 2023, we still believed that it was Atiku that won the election in 2023. because the INEC is no longer independent, and so many other things had happened.
How does the PDP handle someone like the Minister of FCT, Nyesom Wike, who today is busy pressing PDP members for crossing over to APC in Edo State and still being a member of PDP, and saying that Bola Tinubu will win 2027?
Yes, it is rather very unfortunate that the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, is just lucky that he was the one that installed most of the PDP members of the National Working Committee in cohort with his G5 group. Iyocha Ayu was installed by Nyesom Wike in cooperation with Samuel Otom. So most of those people who are there, they don't have the willpower to challenge him. That's why he's doing whatever he is doing, because he knows he installed them and they cannot do anything to him. But it is better late than never. I think recently he was complaining about Damagu, whom he was the one, he said he gave all the necessary support, but Damagu is no longer with him. So I think the NWC have rediscovered themselves, but rather very late. But we hope that at the next convention, the remnants of Wike will now be flushed out and the PDP will come back smoking and smiling.
Okay. Now we look at INEC, the Independent Electoral Commission. Now, people are getting worried. They said, okay, Mahmoud has been told to proceed on leave. Some people don't know, when you have so limited time to go, you're supposed to go on leave before your retirement or leaving the office. Some people are saying, look, the president is overbearing his limits. Now he's going to appoint chairman, he's going to appoint commissioners and all that stuff. Some people are saying it's already skewed in favor of APC. How do you see this?
Well, I think Mahmoud has come out to say, there is nobody who has told him to proceed on leave. And that even if he was told to proceed on leave, he is backed by the Constitution. And that the Constitution has provided the way he will come in and has provided his exit strategy or the exit plan. So he cannot proceed on any leave until his period has elapsed. So that, I think, is a matter that has been settled, because we have not seen him proceeded on leave.
Okay. Now let's look at, today we're talking about amendment, tinkering with the Nigerian Constitution as already amended 1999. Now there are some thorny issues. Some people are talking of states. Some people are even talking of special seats for women. Some are talking about autonomy financially to local governments and all that stuff. When you look at it, is it a big waste of time? Because every legislative season or year or period, things of this nature come on board, especially getting close to election.
Yes.
So what new is it?
This matter has been treated. During the Goodluck administration era, Justice Lebo Kutigi was given the responsibility to chair a constituent assembly that discussed the Constitution. It was a constitutional conference, and all these issues were deliberated upon, and there is a report. Now, what government needs to do is to look at this report, make recommendations, and then maybe issue a white paper, and then the National Assembly will just pass it, and it becomes our constitution. So instead of us to set up another constituent assembly or constitutional conference and put in money, put in time, put in energy, continue to surmount arguments as to what should be in the constitution and what should not, this matter has been debated. I think what is going on currently is just a charade. It is of course of no consequence. These things have been deliberated upon. They have been discussed. The issue of
the female position.
Female position. This is a competition. This is politics. You have to compete. There should be no special privilege for anybody. It's a competitive world. You go in, and if you think you can compete, you compete, and then you win. And then the issue of state police is also another vexed issue. When you give governors state police, nobody can remove a governor because it will be intimidating people with the state police, and so forth and so on. So these are issues that are very, very critical, and they have been settled, and now they are being reopened because there are vested interests who want them to be inserted in the constitution.
But when you look at the issue of state police, one would have thought that, especially in the north, where banditry, kidnapping, terrorism, just look at it, the north is actually almost upside down. One would have thought that this should be a welcome development by all the 19 northern states and even FCT.
No, state police, the police are constitutionally empowered by law to be in charge of, the internal affairs, the security of the internal affairs of the nation. But the Nigerian police is not well equipped to be able to address these issues. Now, do you think the Nigerian police is capable of facing a well-equipped Boko Haram insurgents who are almost always attacking our military formations, military that are well trained to kill? They have attacked so far within the period of this administration about 17 formations, and it was a Herculean task. So how could our a state police be able to tackle insecurity in that respect?
Yeah, one would have thought that maybe at the very primary level from local government, if one is able to, usually when they say there's no employment, the youths have nothing doing. If you have this financial autonomy for local governments, right from that grassroots, you employ some people, they're engaged. Those who are not engaged there, they move to the state level, they are engaged. If those who are still not engaged, they move to the federal level, so that is brought to a minimal kind of a thing. But if these things are just left that way with governors seeing local government monies as largesse and unemployment is there, and you're talking about the money, some of this money they get, what you also call security votes, can't that take care of the state police?
It is not about the funding of the state police. We are not talking about funding. And more so, the governors are the major problem. They want to control the local government funds and want to control the state funds. These are the issues that are very much on the ground. Now, the issue is far beyond control of funding, because the Supreme Court had already decided that local governments are autonomous and their financial autonomy was therefore granted. It was merely waiting for implementation. But as a stopgap measure and as a way of gaining the support of the governors, the issue of financial autonomy of governors became a trading ground between the presidency and the governors. We will allow you to be controlling their funding, but you will support us. This is what is going on. That is why up to now it has not been implemented, and so governors are in control of funds. There was a move by the federal government at one point to ensure that monies were deliberately sent directly to the local government, but that thing was jettisoned, and now the monies are sent to the states who will now remit to them.
Yes.
And no matter how you remit the money, if the state governor wants, since they are the ones putting the people, the elections are conducted by them and so forth through SECOM, they put their men. There was no election in Kaduna, I'm sure you know. There was no election.
Well, we'll come to that. Just that we just allow you to sip some water as we go into some small break. So when we come back, we'll look at State Independent Electoral Commission, and in particular, Kaduna State, your state, my state. We'll look at the north-south divide in your state, my state, Kaduna State. We'll come to that, and our guest is Alhaji Umar Sani, former spokesman, Kaduna State Governor. We're talking of Namadi Sambo, His Excellency. He moved to the villa here, presidential villa, as vice president. They came together. My name is Ben Sheman. We'll continue the discussion after this.
We're talking about South and the North. You talk about middle belt. Currently in Nigeria, we don't have middle belt. North Central is what we have. And they are included in the North. If the perception is because Nigeria is standing on a tripod, you have Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, they are the owners of Nigeria. That is a very wrong perception. These are major tribes in Nigeria. Simple.
Yeah.
Nigeria is owned by every single citizen of this country.
If you go to civilized nations, they possibly have, stratified their political parties such that those who play at the national level are there. And at the local level, you have other minor political parties playing there. And it gives sense of belonging to every citizen to be able to contest.
And in fact, once you have joined APC, all your sins are forgiven.
It's okay. It's okay. Off your mic. It's okay.
This is Third Eye Africa TV, exposing crime, savaging the nation.
Welcome back again. Yes, when you went sipping water, we were talking about State Independent Electoral Commission. That name, independence, or that Independent Electoral Commission, are they really independent at the state level?
They are not. Naturally, what happened in Kaduna State at the last local government election was a charade.
Tell us.
Yes, there was no election. In fact, no electoral material was distributed anywhere within and around the state. But the State Independent Electoral Commissioner, the lady, announced the results, where, in fact, you cannot even get a breakdown of who scored what and how. She was just announcing that APC scored all the 23 local governments and all the 255 wards across the state. So there was no contest at all. Because if there was contest, there is no way that APC can win everywhere. And there is no way APC... When there was contest, PDP won all the 3 senators in Kaduna State, won 10 members of this National Assembly. In fact, it was 12, but 2 were collected back. So out of the 16, 6 were remaining. 2 were won Kaura, your local government, and Chukun were Labour Party, and 4 other local governments, were APC. Especially where Tajuddin about the speaker comes from. So the APC was nowhere to be found during the last election, which was credible, free and fair. But the local government election, the governor himself, had arranged a pseudo election where he will go and cast his vote. 3 times he couldn't go there. And when he went there, there's a video circulating that has circulated then. People were shouting at him and mocking him. There was no election.
So why was there a clear departure, as you are saying? El-Rufai at the point felt there should be that independence. Let the Kaduna State Independent Electoral Commission conduct free, fair elections. But now you are saying that what happened was a charade, a kind of elections never took place. Why that sudden departure?
Well, when El-Rufai came, I think there were about 3 elections, local government, 2 under El-Rufai and 1 under the current governor. Now, the first one Ubasani was the political advisor to El-Rufai, so he was supervising those elections. And those results were all written. We are aware of so many results. For instance, in the ward where I stay, in Kaduna North, the person who won, we were waiting for the electoral officer to come and announce him. They were all, taken away to Hotel 17, where they were asked to write the results, and outrageous figures were read. Now, in the second election, where they used the electronic machines that El-Rufai bought, the same thing was about to happen. El-Rufai insisted no, that the correct results must be announced.
Was Ubasani still the political advisor?
He was a senator.
Okay.
But as a senator, he was in charge of the election. So he tried to do what he did, but El-Rufai insisted no, that the correct result must be announced. And the results were announced. In my local government, for instance, APC won the chairmanship, but 8 councillors were won by the PDP. Out of 12, 8 councillors, PDP won it. That is to tell you that there is no way in Kaduna where you will have 255 wards. All the councillors are APC. It's not possible. It is not an election.
So people are now saying that, look, the national level should handle elections at the state level.
Yes, that is why there is outcry as to the state in the actions of the State Independent Electoral Commission. Most of the elections in almost all the states, it's not peculiar to Kaduna State, in almost all the states, except maybe they want to, there is a very important VIP they want to give him his own local government. In Akwa Ibom, the election, the PDP then, when the governor was in PDP, won everywhere except the local government of the Senate president. He gave him that one, So they wrote his own candidate as the winner. Now this is what happens in almost all the states.
Okay. Now let us go back the north-south thing in Kaduna State. And would there be a marriage of convenience when it comes to politics? Those days, people never bothered about religion. If you look at the days of Alarabi Musa, it was always Muslim thing. People didn't care about it. And if you check, when NPN came on board, the campaigns were mostly towards southern Kaduna, but they believed that, look, they will give block voting. They became the bride. Everybody will want to. But today, people, El-Rufai will say, no, don't even bother about them.
No, that position of El-Rufai was very divisive, and I do not support him entirely, because it is in the same state that Patrick Yakowa stood election and won. He got his votes not only in the southern part, he also got his votes from the northern part. So he won an election. That is unifying the state along one single line. Now, for somebody to now come and say, because you are rigging election and you are winning through rigging, that is to say that the other people don't matter. No, everybody matters in election. And if people don't vote for you, you will not, development will not reach them. That's very unfair. It's an unfair method of executing, state policies. State policies are meant to address even those who have never voted for you, those who don't even like you. As a leader, you are supposed to give everybody his own right. Now, the north and south divide, I think, to be fair to Ubasani, he has been trying to cover the gap between the north and the south. But how well he can do it and how well he can manage it is the issue.
How well he can manage it and how long? It won't be long when we're talking about having presidential candidates, their running mates. Gubernatorial, their candidates and their running mates. Now, El-Rufai came and said, Muslim. Okay, he got some backing. Obasani came and inherited it.
No, El-Rufai didn't start with Muslim. El-Rufai started with Muslim Christian, and his Christian was Barnabas Balaban text.
Yes. Thereafter, the second one
was
Muslim.
Was in the second tenure. Which means you can still win in Kaduna State with either Muslim or Muslim Christian.
Okay. Now let us see, by the time elections are coming on board, will Obasani be at the crossroads? Should I continue with the Muslim? Hadiza will surely not be the running mate because she's done it twice.
Yes.
Now, what will be his game now? Pick a Muslim woman, Muslim man to him, or let's go for the Christians. Now, would that anger any side in your own thinking?
Well, I don't want to think for him, but I believe that he will look at issues, more dispassionately. He will look at it from who he will pick that has the acceptability of the people, whom the people will cherish and value, and who has, support across board. That is the nature of the person I expect him to carry. But if he decides to carry otherwise, it is his cross. If he takes the right person, he gets the right result. If he takes the wrong person, he gets the wrong result.
Okay, so let us do what the computer thing was called copy and paste. This scenario I've painted for APC and Obasani, let's look at it for PDP. So how is the game, the architecture will look like? A candidate, religion plays a key role, whether you like it or not, in Kaduna State. Like some people will say, okay, they use Kaduna State as the test ground for Nigeria. Also, your PDP, your party, you are a chieftain, like in Kaduna State now. What will be the stand? Muslim, Christian,
The PDP,
Christian, Muslim, Christian.
The PDP has never done a Muslim ticket. Right from the beginning up till now, there has never been a Muslim ticket. Magarpi didn't had Stephen Shekari as his running mate. When Stephen Shekari died, he brought in Patrick Yakua. Patrick Yakua was his running mate. When Namadi Sambo came in, he took Patrick Yakua as his running mate. And when he left, Patrick Yakua became the governor and took a Muslim, Mukhtar Ramalan Yeru, as his running mate. And when he was late, Mukhtar Ramalan Yeru, took this man from Jaba, who was our party chairman then. I think he was a former ambassador Bajuga.
Yes.
Bajuga. He took him as his running mate. So the PDP has always been balancing its own act. There has never been, even when Isa Ishuru was the contestant twice, all his running mates were from the southern part of the state.
Then suddenly, when there is a candidate picked running mate, like in the south, still talking south-south divide, trying to overcome. Masha Katung is son of Zamani Lekwat. Then you came to the other running mate of Asharu, Dr. What now? Oh, is Zamani Lekwat. I mean, this idea of, it's like there is that big divide. And sometimes when you look at even the way people live in some areas in Kaduna State, around television, down, you begin to see mostly Christians. By the time you go Kao areas, mostly Muslims. And how do we make people integrate, live together? How can we come out of this?
You see, the issue of using that, those were campaign strategies that were used against those aspirants. It took a long time for people to know that Sando Masha Katung is not the son of Zamani Lekot. And using the arguments for Zamani Lekot, you see, what has always put Zamani Lekot on the hotspot is because most people, either rightly or wrongly, believe that he orchestrated the Zangon crisis, and that a lot of Muslims were killed, and so most people from the northern part are looking at him as the enemy within. So these are some of the issues. He may not have been the enemy with it. He may not even have been the person who orchestrated these things, but perception matters. And the perception is that he was the one. And so these are the issues that have really placed him at a very, critical path in this whole game. But I don't think John, the last governorship, was characterized that way.
Yeah, at the point some people did, but all the same, you can see Sani in terms of trying to integrate everybody, has also brought Zamani Lekot as one of the leaders of thought in that. And at the point like the Zango Katab crisis you're talking about, some people say, look, the driver was a Muslim, the driver knew where they went to, and he was always driving Zamani Lekot and all that stuff. But it's a long, long story.
Like I said, it is perception. Somebody will just spread rumors, and then everybody will agree, and nobody is debunking. Nobody is saying this is not true. And so people are beginning to, they begin to build it as the naked truth, even when it is not true.
Yes, so finally, how do we come out of this and integrate properly? I mean, I should be able, when my car breaks down in a Yero community, I just go there and knock, look, I'm stranded, they give me a house. You go to Zangon Kataf, go to Zonzon and you feel, look, I need some water, and they give you, look, I'm hungry, they give you food. How can we have that trust to go back those days?
Yes, it is something that is possible. We have to first and foremost do what the Constitution says. We should be our brother's keeper. We should see ourselves first and foremost as Nigerians and as citizens of Kaduna State who want the progress of the state. Now, you cannot have progress when you are divided. When you are divided in areas of business, you are divided in areas of comfort, you are divided in areas of mutual and social relationships. Unless you are brought together both socially, economically, and so forth, and you begin to interact positively, and begin to appreciate and understand each other, and try to put all those things that are being used as divisive, those dichotomies that are being used, you stop using tribalism, ethnicity, religion, and so forth and so on. Then that is our first step towards, reconciliation. And there has to be an effort also by the government for genuine reconciliation, to bring in aggrieved members, those who were hurt during that period, to be able to if those who have lost property, those who have lost life, and so forth, to be compensated. These are things that will give families that, and then they should be accepted by both sides. If I go to the Christian side and I stay, I should be accepted. If the Christian comes into my community and stays, he should be accepted. Not for somebody to be referred to as kaga wannan mutum kaga arna nan yazo nan waje, or look at this useless Muslim that is trying to come and stay amongst us. These are some of the things that we can chart, so that we can chart a course for the state.
Well, it is here that we have to end this edition of Democracy in Action. But again, we also wish Alhaji Sani Umar that the next rounds of campaign, that integration in Southern Kaduna will be part of the agenda for you, the politicians. We are reporters, we report what you do. It's like a football match. No matter how good you are as a spectator, you cannot play.
Yes.
But we can vote.
Yes.
So
I can tell you without that I schooled at Kagoro Teachers College. So I spent 5 years in Kagoro. So I'm also from Kaura local government.
You are better than me. I went to Kwara State to do my secondary school, and but I thank the Kaduna State government that time. I was supposed to go to Barewa College, so they sent me to Kwara State, an exchange program. So I want to thank them. And it is sad that we have to end this program, and we always say, proudly Nigeria. Thank you for coming to the studio.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.